Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Think Ribbon podcast, where we talk about the things that we think about. I'm your host, Kai Morgan, and today I'm joined by the lovely, super amazing Jazz, who is kind of the fairy godmother of the Ink Ribbon community. She's responsible for creating the Discord. She has helped me so much with my channel and with planning and just managing so many people and keeping everything together. So, we owe her a lot, and welcome. Do you want to introduce yourself a little bit?
Hi, I'm Jazz. Me and Kai, we've been friends for like a year now, close to 2 years, and I have like a small hand in some of the stuff. He blows it out the water. I don't really do all that stuff, honestly. But I did help. I'm like the big admin on the Discord server, and join. It's fun there, and I'm here from time to time, just casually.
Yeah, no, she you should have seen the Discord before she stepped in. She messaged me. She's like, "So yeah, do you mind if I change a couple things around? Because this is she was really nice about it, but she was just basically like, this is not good. Let me fix it." And then it was amazing. So yeah, thank you for that. And you might know her as Yer on the YouTube chat, which, by the way, what is with Yer? Where did that come from? You never told me.
I actually don't know. I feel like I think I was just looking for a username, and I was just like, this is kind of interesting. But you see, I kind of always change my username because now on Discord I'm like Oblivion NPC, because you know how bad the NPCs were in that game. And I kind of vibe with that, so that's why I changed it to that. But I think I still have my Twitter username. I think I might have changed it recently, but I went by Yer for a very long time. Yeah.
Okay. I wasn't sure if there was a story or not. And I just realized I forgot to introduce the most important part of you for this podcast is you are the producer. I put you in charge of the podcast because I saw how well you handled the Discord, and I was like, I'm going to give her more responsibility whether she likes it or not. So
yeah. I'm sort of the producer. It's really fun. It's really interesting. So far, it's kind of really new for me because I'm usually I don't really have that big of a presence online, really. Sometimes I'll post art and whatnot, and knowing you, that's the biggest exposure I've had. It's through you, but of course I'm not really for that anyway. That doesn't really matter to me. I'm just happy to be along for the ride, really.
No, I totally understand that. A lot of people have told me, they're like, oh my god, I could never be on camera. And I'm like, I know, that's why I eat nothing but fruits and vegetables, because mean comments are mean.
Yeah, but like I've always said, I'm really happy that I know you. It's really been a wonderful ride, and I'm glad that you've given me the chance that you did, because I've learned so much through you talking about streaming and YouTube and all that stuff. It's crazy. You told me some crazy stuff.
Yeah, and I mean, you've helped me a lot too, you and the other people in the Discord, but I mean, it ultimately comes back to you. You're the number one suspect in all this, but because I'm so introverted and I keep to myself, and I'm literally always in front of my desk where I'm sitting right now. I'm either editing or I'm researching or I'm writing or I'm doing something for Ink Ribbon or for my games, and I don't talk to anyone. I don't have any friends, and then I complain that I don't have any friends. But by you adding me to these groups and introducing me to the people on the Discord, suddenly I have a community that I fit in. Even though they're there for Ink Ribbon, I wasn't really part of it until you kind of here, friendship, and I was like, yay. So it's a nice thing.
People care about you. You hear how they talk about you on the Discord server? It's really sweet.
Yeah, I know. Sometimes I see people because the notifications pop up because I'm a lurker, and I'll see people talking about me, and then I'll just mute it because I'm I don't think I'm supposed to be reading this. It's a weird, when people are talking about you, you're not in the room, but you can see what they're saying. It's a very weird phenomenon. I'm still getting used to the whole YouTube thing, because there's no, here's a tutorial on how to have like internet presence because it's weird. I've gotten the
Uh,
weirdest message, the weirdest like yeah. I'm not even gonna get into that. It's a whole different. Anyway, I don't know how we got into all that, but you are in a very big moment in your life right now because you're about to start
mm,
college.
yeah, I'm really nervous about it. Being like 21 and all, I feel like I got like a late start, but I'm ready to put my best foot forward. I'm ready to get my degree and leave because this state has like literally nothing in it. North Carolina, it's a
Yeah.
beautiful state, but like there's like I don't know, there's like crack dens, Like I think I lived down the street from one, honestly. It's just a wild world, honestly, and I'm just ready to get out of North Carolina and go somewhere else.
No, I think it'll be a really good change for you, and I totally understand the fear aspect. Like I went through that when I moved to Japan. I went through that when I went to college. I went through that when I changed schools once I was already in college. It's really really scary. To give you an idea of how much I understand, in middle school I had changed to AP English, and I just continued to go to my regular English class for like 4 months. And then finally, someone tracked me down from the office and they're like, I think you're supposed to be in a different class. And then when I walked into the room, I was like terrified and I was like, oh God. And then literally all the students looked up and they're like, oh, it's finally him. So I don't know, like what. Yeah.
Wait, they
I,
never said anything though?
No, I was too nervous to go to to change classes. I didn't know anybody, so I just stuck with it, and I ended up like having a great time in the AP class because smarter kids tend to be a little bit nicer.
Right.
But yeah, so I'm not joking when I say I'm an introvert. That's the kind of stuff that I do because I'm weird. But no, college is so much fun. Like high school, they say that that's when you find yourself, but I think college is where you really find yourself because high school you're still under other people's rules. Like they say, if you don't do your homework, they'll call your parents in high school. Or if
Right.
you're wearing the wrong thing that's not allowed, they will call your parents or they will send you home. In college, there's just no rules. You do whatever you want, and if you fail a class, that's on you. No one's going to call your parents. The teachers are not going to call you in and give you a talking to, like, you need to bring up your grade. No, they just fail you, and that's it. So, like, it's really nice because you really you learn about yourself and your disciplines and because I remember when I first started college I failed a couple classes because I was just not used to having no one there to reprimand me or tell me that
Yeah.
you need to do this or you need to do that. And unfortunately that also applies to things like roommates not cleaning up after themselves, which I've got so many stories about that. And roommates, it's a lottery. You either win or you lose.
Right. Yeah.
I think
Well,
the best thing you
honestly,
can hope for is just a roommate who doesn't bother you, and you don't
yeah.
hate each other, you don't love each other, they're just there and it's fine.
Yeah. Honestly, though, because um, when I first found out who my roommate was, I was like, oh, hey, this is my phone number. If you need anything, you need to know anything, just reach out. And from the few times that we've been talking, she seems like a nice girl. Her name's Jada. And like she would be like, oh, I bought these lights from Hobby Lobby. They were on sale. And I'm like, girl, those even look cute. Because we were talking about like LED lights and whatnot. And for some reason, I think there's like a regulation like on what type of lights we can have in our room. But
Mm.
like she seems nice,
Do you mean like light
So
bulbs or like string lights?
like this, like string lights and like
Oh,
LED
okay.
strips and whatnot.
Gotcha.
So there's like, oh, you got to bring this certain type of extension cord and whatnot. And I'm like, y'all think I'm going to remember all that? It's weird. But like I said, with me being 21, that's just kind of like, I see not like a literal baby, but like, I know she's somewhere else and I'm a bit ahead of her. So that's why when I think I know I'm going to be fine, but it's just like you're telling yourself that, but then you got something in the back of your head. We'll just have to see. I'm like a tiny bit worried, but we're gonna see Saturday because that's when I move in.
And is
Yay.
it just one roommate or is it multiple people?
So the rooms is gonna be, I'm gonna have like one immediate roommate, and then it's gonna be like a I don't want to say like a pod, but kind of like
It,
a communal thing where it's like I
okay.
don't want to say a
Is it like
big
a
room,
dorm?
but yeah, it's a dorm.
Oh,
And
okay.
there's gonna be the other things that are technically they're kind of my roommates because we share like a bathroom and all that other stuff. I think there's gonna be like maybe like 6 other people. That's
Okay.
like not my roommate, but
Yeah.
we're in the same
No, that
um
that should be good
space.
because like so the setup at mine was it was a four people to a 2 bedroom apartment. So there was two in one room and two in the other, and then you share like the other rooms. And the less roommates, the better. Because when
Yeah,
I had my first roommate that I got matched with, I ended up like going with his parents, and like they drove us there, they dropped us off, everything was fine, just the two of us, we got along. And then when the other roommates started showing up, weird dynamics started forming, like people started getting bitchy, and then like it just takes that one person to not do the dishes or not do whatever, it starts setting everyone off, and then like everyone becomes these angry ticking time bombs. So like
yeah,
I've learned communication is very important. Like when someone doesn't brush their teeth and they've got really bad breath, you have to tell them.
right.
And it's hard because what ended up happening for me is I ended up being the parent of all the roommates, and that got old real quick.
Yeah,
I remember them waking me
yeah.
up at like 2 in the morning because they broke a pipe and it was water leaking all over the place, and I had to be the
How
one
did
to
they break a pipe?
call. I
How
know.
did they
I'm like,
break a
what?
pipe
What were
though?
you guys doing? So like, I don't know. I mean, it's there's gonna be good times and bad times. It's a lot like siblings where you're not gonna get
Yeah,
along all the time, but like
yeah.
hopefully most of the time you will. But I think the roommate thing is probably gonna be fine if you just have one roommate. I don't think it's gonna be an issue. How do you feel? What's your major, by the way?
Art history.
Okay.
So, because I still have, there's a lot to learn, and I can't remember the first class. Let me see if I can pull up the classes that I got, because the ones that they gave me for art is actually kind of interesting.
Yeah, because what I learned, because I went to art school too, and I learned that there's a lot of classes that seem stupid that end up being fascinating. Like Architecture 101, I thought that was going to be boring. It was so fascinating. Color theory, as anyone who watches my channel knows, turned out to be like one of my all-time favorite classes, and we can talk a little bit about that if you want, because I could talk about color all day long, but yeah, some classes they seem stupid. Like critical thinking was an amazing class, although it had a really good professor.
What did you learn in critical thinking? Like, what was the gist?
I learned to think critically. No, I'm just kidding.
Yeah.
No, it's a
Oh
lot
my
of
gosh.
stuff like kind of what I was talking about with like discipline and all that stuff. It's basically saying like instead of doing this and making your life really difficult, think about A, B, and C and all these other options you have. And if you stop and think critically, you can apply them to different situations, and you can change the way that you think, and just all sorts of really really cool stuff that you could do. Also just how people perceive you, how society works in social situations. It was a lot, but it was really really informative. Like I thought it was going to be stupid, and it was like one of the best classes ever. I mean, I have lessons from that class that I use today.
That sounds really interesting. I wonder if they teach anything at my school like that. Because I do sometimes, when you get a daunting task, you're just like, oh fuck, I don't want to do that. Like it helps with that, right? Yeah, because
Yeah,
that's me.
I
Because
mean
I'm
with
just
everything.
like, oh, I'll wait till the last minute and then I'll do it, and then I'll complain about it. But like one of
Exactly.
my classes is just like elements of design. I think that would be pretty interesting.
Yeah, that'll be a good
Um,
class, especially with today. I mean, graphic design and web design and all that is so in demand.
and then three-dimensional design, which I'm kind of like, I wonder what that's gonna, entail, because that sounds really interesting too. But back to color theory. Um, like, what's your favorite thing about it? Like, what's the basics?
I've always loved color. Like on
Yeah.
another level, I've always known that no one liked color as much as I did, and so like I don't know, just learning about the psychology of color. Like, you know how they say, like, if you drive a red car, you're going to get pulled over all the time? Like, little things
Yeah.
like that, there's totally truth to them. Like, a lot
Mm.
of poisonous animals and bugs are yellow and black. the same way that street signs and warning signs are yellow and black. It's because it's tied to that like natural instinct. And then there's a lot of like perceptions about color that are actually backwards, like pink. It's known as being a feminine color that's demasculating. So like if you wear a pink shirt, like, oh, you're girly. But actually, if you wear a pink shirt, you're not looking at it. Everyone around you is looking at it. So you're demasculating everyone around you and sort of accidentally becoming like the subliminal alpha. And looking at pink has been proven to produce estrogen in men. Like, I mean, it actually causes, it's been studied and measured. And to give you an example of this, there was this locker room for a visiting team in some high school football team somewhere in America. I don't know where, like in the Midwest. And they painted the visitors' locker room like baby powder pink, like just really light pink. And they won every single game until they were forced to repaint the locker room to normal colors, and then they started losing. So like,
oh, that's weird.
But because
not weird, but
being surrounded by all that pink, it was, you know, lowering the testosterone. It was making them a little soft when you're supposed to be like, you know, ready for football, and it worked. I mean, I don't know if that's why they did it, but you know, it was studied and it was proven that that's what happened. So there's so many little things like that with color.
Like, what about blue? Like, because I remember you made a video about it, and then you were talking about how it's like calming, you know?
Yeah.
And whatnot.
Blue is the strongest the strongest color tied to sense. Especially psychologically. Blue can relax you. It can calm you down. It can. A lot of people think it makes you sad, but it doesn't really. Like, it's more just general calming, and also lighter shades of blue can make you more focused. So it's a really popular color in a lot of classrooms and a lot of workplaces, like kind of a muted blue. But I don't know. And also blue is the across the board the most popular color. Almost everyone you ask what their favorite color is, they're very likely to say blue.
Yeah, they'll all say blue. Yeah.
Like, what's your favorite color?
Yellow.
So when it comes to clothing, most people can't pull off yellow or orange. However, if you're black, it actually looks really good on you.
Yeah, that's something else too, because like blacks and greens and whatnot, they kind of like pop a little more. Mm-hmm. Yeah, and that's why like in a lot of like traditionally like African clothes, you'll see a lot of like lighter colors, like you said, yellow and whatnot. And I'm like, wow, you know, I don't know. I know you haven't played Red Dead Redemption 2, have you?
I haven't.
So there's this one character in the game, her name's Tilly, and you know, she's black, and one of her main dresses is actually like a really pretty yellow dress. And I feel like from like all her other dresses and whatnot, everybody remembers her on the yellow dress because it's like, you know, it's really pretty, and it's kind of, you know, it's like her iconic outfit, you know.
Right.
Play Red Dead Redemption 2, by the way.
I will eventually. It's just the Wild West thing, like, I don't know, it doesn't grab me, you know?
Oh, really? I love cowboys. I love cowboys so much. I love like the war. I do, but like I'm thinking about like it's so weird how like detailed like games can get like that. Like I know you heard about like the horse balls. Who didn't hear about the horse balls in that game? Did you?
Oh yeah. It was all over it was all over the internet. I didn't even play the game, crazy. But just checking Twitter, I'm like, oh, okay, I guess that's what's going on today.
But yeah.
No, but like that's like another example of color theory that is something you can use in practical sense because everyone has different skin tones. So like, you know, your skin you might be black or you might be kind of more on like I have olive skin. I don't look like it in this camera. I look kind of pink, but like. If you have olive skin versus if you have like more of a pink tone, different colors are gonna look good on you, and different colors are gonna look really bad on you. And if you want to be able to determine that, you need to understand your undertones and all that stuff, which kind of gets into more complicated stuff. But everyone like has at one point or another worn something that just didn't look good on them, like,
Right.
and that just happens. But a big one with that, like, I don't own anything yellow because I know that it doesn't look good on me. I've tested that many times. Dyed my hair red once, looked horrible. So I learned the hard way. Like, there's some things you just like, colors just don't work for you, and you got to do it. And it's sad because I love yellow too, but I can't wear it.
But man, it's crazy how that works though, like I feel like a color that I don't commonly wear a lot of is I don't know. I kind of wear every color,
No, yeah. I feel like there's a lot of people who either they have a very colorful wardrobe or they have a very muted wardrobe. Like, if you're watching this or listening to this right now, think about your closet and your wardrobe and think, what is the number one color that I have? And I'd say, like, for me, it's mostly black. But then there's other people.
The same thing.
Yeah, but then there's people who like wear always like white. And again, I don't own white because for me, white is like an absence of color. Like, it's just there's nothing. Whereas black, it's very slimming and it matches with everything. So I don't know.
You see, I don't know, because also like white gets really dirty easily. I have like a white Sailor Moon shirt, and I think I can't wear it because, like, if I wear makeup, you'll see it right down here, It's just weird how colors
all the time.
Yeah.
When my makeup...
you'll see your foundation down there. But, I feel like everybody could use a little bit more white in their wardrobe, though.
Well, and like
it's definitely hard.
Touching with Resident Evil, like, that's one thing that I think a lot of people... They subconsciously maybe picked up on it but didn't actively realize that, just like how Mario is red and Luigi is green, Resident Evil set up the same way. Jill is blue, Chris is green, Leon is blue, Claire is like pink or red or whatever. And like
a maroon.
It's specifically for that. It's a more elaborate system of like red versus blue, and like, and then also to have all the environments complement the character's colors. Like, that's why you have the muted, like in Resident Evil 1 Remake, there's the muted colors. So like Jill is kind of blue, maybe with like a little splash of green, and then Chris is just straight up green. But then when you have that nice mahogany brown on everything, all those colors match together. And then like Barry's kind of pink vest matches with the mahogany because of the red tones. Like, it's actually a lot of work, and you're gonna see this when you go into your classes about it. Like, doing color palettes for projects is a lot more important than people realize. Like, if you've ever seen a mod where it just clashes with the rest of the game so bad, like Resident Evil 4 is infamous for this because everything's sort of muted colors, and then someone will put someone with a bright red thing, and it's just like whoa, it's because they weren't following the color palette.
Honestly, that's a good thing that you brought up too, because when you said that, I automatically thought of like Resident Evil 5 with all like the like terracotta, like of Africa and whatnot, and Chris's green and Sheva's purple. I'm like, wow, that's so pretty. I thought that was really interesting.
And that's the thing is, purple and green are complementary colors. So, like, you're sticking to Chris's original green. You've got Sheva in purple, which is another character. Another color that looks good on dark skin.
Yeah, I agree.
And then when you have all the sand, it creates a yellow, which also complements purple. So it's like, the circle of life.
But, I always thought that was pretty interesting because I did notice that even when I was... like when I first got into Resident Evil when I was like 11 or 12, I was like, this has to mean something. But then like, zombies.
Yeah, just player 1, player 2.
Yeah, but even like...
What was your first Resident Evil? Was it 5?
6.
Oh my god.
6 was my first one.
I have
but it brought me into it. Like... Okay, so I knew what Resident Evil was because of, the movies and whatnot. And for some reason, like, I don't know why, but, I have older brothers and whatnot, and they played games. And, of course, I would watch them play games. And for some reason, one of my brothers found a copy of Resident Evil 3. And I would always look at the cover, and I'd be like, oh, wow, scary, And then I would like read the back, and of course you'll just like, as a kid, you would do what you can, just like imagine like, oh, what's happening in this game. So I was in GameStop and I picked up 6, and I was like, oh, this is kind of fun. Like, I like this. I was playing it with my brother though. So once I did that, we played through 5 together, and then I started playing through them slowly. And 6 isn't the best, but it has its merits.
We were too hard on that game when it came out. I think people have come around to it, but at the time
right.
it was a lot.
But like, even like the multiplayer, I had so much fun with it.
Oh my god, Mercenaries! Oh my god, Resident Evil 6, best Mercenaries in all of Resident Evil.
Oh my god, the music too is so good. And then like I said, like, the game, they really need to give it props, because like I said, like, it had a great Mercenaries mode, and then I also liked being able to be a BOW and then going into other people's games and trying to stop them. Like, I think that was really cool, for what they gave. But I think my favorite Resident Evil might be 3. I'm just gonna go out and say it, but I really like 5
or the original.
Too. Original.
Yeah. Well, like, okay, so this is like what fascinates me, especially as Ink Ribbon, is like, was it hard to go from the modern graphics back to like the old school ones, or did you adapt? Or
I mean, at first it was kind of, so I'll tell you how I played it. So I played through the first, I played through 5. I played through 6, then 5, and then I got 4, and I was like, okay, this isn't so bad. My TV at the time wasn't really that good. I had like a really like fat CRT, those really heavy ones.
Yeah.
So graphics really never really meant that much to me to begin with. But going back to play like the first one and the second one, I was like, oh, this is very different than like the more modern ones, And like, it was just kind of like, oh, it never bothered me. It was like, oh, okay, that's how it is, But because think about it though, the jump from like PS2. The jump from PS1 to PS2 was so big, but then the jump from PS2 to PS3 was even bigger, Like, even thinking about games from 2005, because for some reason I've been on a kick for games from then. For some reason, I can't really explain. But even going from playing like San Andreas, and then going to play Grand Theft Auto 4, that's like 4 years.
Yeah, and they still hold up.
They really do. But you remember the dancing mini game from San Andreas and how bad it was?
I actually never played San Andreas. I only played Vice City.
Vice City was good too, though.
I went from Vice City to 4.
Really?
Yeah, I know. I'm missing out.
People say that San Andreas was the best, but it's kind of weird because it has like it has like light RPG elements to it.
No, I did play a bit of it, and I remember CJ for me was always fat, because like I didn't go out of my way to do whatever you're supposed to do to keep him thin, and I was just always like, oh my god, how do I turn this off?
Yeah, you got to go to the gym. You got to go to the gym.
Just like real life. Just what I want in a video game. Like, oh, I have to go to the gym. Like,
I thought it was interesting how they put that in there though. It was kind of mundane, but like, you want him to be buff, or you want him to be at least like in the middle, like regular,
Yeah.
Weird.
No, like, I don't know, Vice City just really captured my heart. You know that I'm really into vaporwave and sort of the 80s aesthetics and stuff like that. So like, just, like, I love that game. I was playing it not too long ago, and I almost platinumed it, but there's this one trophy that's just really stupid. If you're gonna platinum Vice City, look up a guide first, because otherwise you're gonna regret it. Take it from me.
Honestly, I feel like the first time I played like Vice City was I think Vice City Stories on the PSP.
Oh, that one's really good too.
That one was.
That one has like refreshed music too, and like, oh my god, it's so good.
You make me want to go back and play that game though. I'm
like,
not even.
You know what I would do? I would just go into like the Malibu club and just like vibe. Yeah. Like, they'd be playing the music, and I'd just be hanging out with the people, just like, no way to control it. Like, oh, so much fun.
that game, I bet that game holds up really well too, doesn't it?
It actually at first it's really jarring, and then you get used to it, and then you kind of like go into that mode of like, okay, I understand the graphics now. But like,
Yeah.
oh, if they ever remake Vice City, I'm gonna scream. Like, it's gonna be the best thing ever. And they're hinting that
Honestly,
6 might have it, but I'm not. I don't know about that.
who knows when 6 is coming out? Because they're too busy. They're too
It's
busy
the new
milking GTA
Half Life
Online.
3.
Yeah,
It's just never gonna
exactly.
happen. Although it actually will because money, you know.
Of course it will. I mean, oh my god, I fucking hope. I'm just like praying that'll be. Did you like GTA 5?
It was okay. It's weird because like living in LA and then playing the game that takes place in LA. Like I was literally able to go to like at the time I worked at the Starbucks off Hollywood Boulevard. Like, and I was able to go and like stand. Like I was like, I know where this is. This is so weird. But like
Yeah.
I don't know. I really liked 4, and then they changed a lot of gameplay stuff. But like, I don't want to talk about specifics because it's gonna make me sound like a serial killer. Like in 4, I love that you could shoot someone in the leg and they'd run away and their health would start going down because they're bleeding, and then you'd watch them
Yeah.
die. And in like in 5, that doesn't happen, and I'm like, well, that's no fun.
It is weird how the mechanics of like harming people does work in that game. Because did you notice that if somebody's sitting down and you punch them, they just die?
Yeah, they just.
Yeah, and that's
Like,
just like, imagine if that really happened. But I kind of miss like flighty cars, like how flighty driving was in GTA 4
yeah.
Mayhem, or that one park where if you hit the swing just right, you might like launch yourself up.
Yeah, although fun tip for that one, in order to stay inside the car, you need to have a passenger. If you have a passenger, you'll never get ejected out the window. So like, I would always call the girlfriend and be like, "Hey, you want to go on a date?" And then have them come with me, and then just go park on the swing and just go flying. Oh, so
Oh
much
my
fun!
god.
And like 4 has a special place in my heart because like that's around the time I was going through some really difficult times, and I just tuned out the world and was just playing. I was playing that and Metal Gear Solid 4 because like my PS3 was still new, and I was like, oh my god. So like,
Yeah.
yeah, good times. But I don't know. Vice City
Uh,
will always be my favorite.
yeah, Vice City was definitely good. It's weird though, because I do also like 4, and I think around the time that came out, I was like 7, 8, or 9. Definitely not. I shouldn't have been playing games then like that, but what are you gonna do? I can't go back
So like,
now.
I don't know how I feel about that. I think that it's okay for kids to be playing mature games
Yeah.
if your parents, just are aware. Because like for me, my parents just bought me whatever games. Like that's how I discovered Resident Evil. They just literally bought me Resident Evil 2 one day for no reason. Well, I found out later it's because I had good grades, but they didn't tell me that, so I didn't know. I just was
Yeah.
like, oh, a new game. And like I remember it was like, on one hand, it's really scary. Resident Evil 2, the original, it's not scary now, but like back then, it was terrifying. And when your character would die and their blood would be all over the screen, I was like scared. I was really scared. But on the other hand, walking around Resident Evil and examining things, I learned so many vocabulary words. I learned how things work. I learned about things that I would have never learned otherwise or would have learned way later in life. So like
Right.
because it was for adults, I didn't fully understand what was going on, but I learned and I grew. Same with like Metal Gear Solid and other mature titles. And I don't know. I think that it's okay to have kids play that.
Yeah, I
I
do too. As long as like yeah, you're right. As long as you're like monitoring them and making sure that they're good. Like I have a little sister, and like me and her, we just played through like the first season of The Walking Dead, and we talk about it and be like, oh, ain't this crazy? And just like talking and having a conversation about like what's going on. But then again, that's just me like spending time with her,
yeah,
and she's invested in everything that's going on. And you played the first season, right?
I haven't, but I know all about it.
Yeah, and then like it's so weird because like when Lee dies and all this other stuff, I remember crying when it first came out, and she cried too, and I'm just like,
Yeah,
I feel you, you know. But yeah, I think it's fine as long as the kids know, like, you can't really do this in real life, and
Well,
you know
like
why it's wrong.
it's not even just about that. It depends on the kid too, because if you've got a
Yeah,
child who is just a fraidy cat and like even the slightest bit of a horror movie will just freak them out and give them nightmares, then yeah, don't let them play a horror game because it's not even about
right.
the maturity. It's just about, try not to scar them. Or if you've got a sadistic, crazy kid who likes to set shit on fire, maybe don't let them play Grand Theft Auto because
Exactly.
they're actually doing it in real life. But if you've got a kid who knows the difference and just is letting out some steam in a shooter game or whatever, like it's fine. We all played games when we weren't supposed to. We all turned out okay. Like violence or video games don't cause violence. Yada yada yada.
Right. And that's crazy that that was even, you know, people even thought about that,
It's
you
still going
know,
on today. I don't know.
which is crazy.
I mean, these video games that we played growing up, in my opinion, like they raised me more than anyone or anything else. Like that's why I hold like Leon and Claire so dearly in my heart is because they were like the big brother and sister I never had, or
Right.
I don't know, like parents I don't think fully understand. You have games like Fortnite, which, as far as I know, don't really have much of a story, and the characters are just like there for aesthetics, and it's just fun. But then you
Yeah.
have games that do have a story. They do have like lore, and they have things that you have to go through and all that, and those can affect kids really, really
Yeah.
deeply, and usually for the better because video game heroes tend to be good role models.
Right. Yeah, I agree with you on that one. But, you know, who knows? It's kind of weird because like my sister started playing Gravity Rush, and you know, it's kind of like this weird, it's kind of weird, you know, you like manipulate gravity and whatnot, and like she won't stop talking about it in a good way.
No,
But you know, it's kind of
it's a really fun
interesting how,
game.
right, it's kind of interesting how like things like that do affect kids, because it's just like I remember doing something like that when I was younger, and you know, it's always good to see, because I don't think Jada's like really into games like that. Like she'll play like Animal Crossing and stuff, and we'll talk about it, of course. But
But there's not really
like
much to talk about as far as like
yeah, because
story and
yeah,
stuff.
you right. But you know, she'll like tell me the story, and I'll just be like, wow, like you know, like that's cool that you know that you got this far and all this other stuff. And you know, it's always good that she like. I don't want to say that she definitely does look up to like Kat, but you can see she's just like, wow, so cool. Like she can do all this, you know. And I'm just like, proud big sister moment, you know.
Did you introduce her to Stardew Valley?
Yes, actually I have, and like I want to get it for the PlayStation because I think I might leave it for her, and you know I'll let her play it, and you know she I think she has started a save on my computer, and I think she has like 2000 G in it because like she'd watch me play a little
Aw.
bit, and she'd be like, oh, I want to play this too, and you know I'll be like, sure thing, you know, play. And she seems to really like it so far. I want to see if she'll, because you know, I want to see if she'll play it more. But I think that she likes it. Like, you know, I love Stardew Valley so
Oh
much.
my
You
god.
know,
One of my top 5 favorite games of all time. I love that
I,
game.
I'm like addicted.
I've spent so many hours in that game. Oh, but
It's
I love
so
it.
fun. But yeah, like you know, people always talk about how like games negatively affect you, but it's just like you know, like after a hard day of work, you know, you come back, you just sit back and you play Stardew Valley, and it's like whatever happened during the day doesn't really matter because you know you get to sit back and like relax and whatnot.
Yeah, you just go back to your farm. And so with that, I've actually become very fascinated. I have no interest in it, but I'm very fascinated in cottage core. Do you know about that?
I love cottage core.
Well,
I love
so
cottage core a
for me,
lot.
it was finding out I was like, I want to understand this thing. What is cottage core? Why is cottage core? So I looked it up and I found out that it's kind of like the Stardew Valley thing where you're sick
Yeah,
of modern life. It's just too much pressure and you just want to go back to basics where you have a little farm and you have little bunnies and little chickens and cows and you
yeah,
bottle your own preserves and whatever. And I was like, okay, I'm behind that. I'm not gonna wear
Yeah.
a frilly dress, or like bake a pie, but I get it. And
Yeah, it's kind of like not like off the grid living, where it's just like you're
mm,
out in like the woods somewhere. That's nice though, and just to like not have to worry about like student debt and all that other shit.
yeah.
I like it in that case. I think it's cute too. Why don't you want to wear the dress? Wear the dress.
I listen. I don't like pastels. Okay, like the aesthetic visually is not for me, but the core concept definitely is. So I'm still on
Yeah.
my search of my own version of it. Hopefully, it happens one day. Maybe vaporwave is a form of that. I don't know, but like, yeah, it's a really powerful thing. Like because of Stardew Valley and that kind of thing, I want to start my own garden. I want to like
Yeah.
do all these things. It's just I live in a tiny apartment with no balcony, so I can't. But
Right.
like, it's cool to see that games, like I said, are affecting people and making them want to change. Did you know that there's a guy who actually quit his job, sold his house, and bought a real life farm?
Yeah, I think I saw that on Reddit
Yeah,
actually, and he was like, "Oh, Stardew Valley made me want to do this." I'm pretty sure he said that he was happy, right?
yeah. They
Yeah,
they uh, they finally got an interview with him like a year later to see like how his farm was doing, and he was fine. He had chickens, and everything was like cleaned up, and he restored every. It was like he was playing Stardew Valley in real life. It was really funny, but he said he was so much happier. And then there was this other couple that they were both really rich, like investment banker type people. Like they had really successful careers, and they just weren't happy. So they picked up their kid and moved to like I think Vermont, like in the forest or something. They built their own house, and they're self-sustained, and they're happy too. And I don't know. It's very fascinating for me and it's a juxtaposition, which is why I like cottagecore, because cottagecore still includes technology. Like you
right.
still like part of cottagecore is posting Instagrams of your stuff that you made or
Yeah,
whatever, showing tutorials, and like it's
and
still
posting your
a
outfit and whatnot. Yeah, there's
yeah,
still technology
like
involved.
it has Wi-Fi, but you don't talk about the Wi-Fi. It's just
Yeah,
there.
yeah. I think that is very interesting too, though. But like just imagine just like upping everything and just like moving to the forest. That sounds like a dream, but like, would you really do it? Like if you had the option to just like, and then go, would you do it?
Mm, I don't know. I don't think I could, just because of what I do, with game dev
Right.
and ink ribbon and all that. But I can't say 100% no that it doesn't appeal to me, because it does.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, it'd be a huge learning curve. That's a reality show, like cottagecore for 1 year, see who survives.
I think that I want to go on that show.
Well,
I
because
think it would
like
be really nice.
another thing that people don't think about is like in the modern society that we live in, we don't know how to do anything. No one knows how to cook. No one
Exactly.
knows how to sew. No one knows how to like forge metal. I mean, these are all things that you should probably know how to do at least one of these. And
Right.
with something like that, if you move to the forest, you'd have to learn how to do everything on your own, because you can't just go to the
Yeah.
store and buy it. You have to make it.
Right. Exactly. That's a good point too. Yeah. I wonder if I would. You see, like I said, like my dream place to live is like South Dakota, because it's kind of like rural and kind of out of the way, and like a little bit cold, and like nobody's out there to bother you. But that's also a con too. You can't
Yeah.
just like, oh, I want Uber Eats. Like you can't just do that. So yeah, it would definitely be a learning curve.
Yeah, that's where
But
I'm dealing with right now. That's like, I don't know, everybody has their own ideal vision. Like for me, it's like a nice loft apartment with like a Starbucks, around the corner that I could just walk
yeah.
to. But also, everyone's electric cars, and the climate change thing is being taken care of,
Oh
and
my
save the
god,
turtles and all
right?
that. Because like, I don't know, and it's weird. I think that if humans worked together and figured it out, we could have all the modern amenities that we've grown used to without fucking destroying the planet in the process. Because, like,
Exactly.
you're not going to deal with all this, but your kids are, you know? And,
Exactly.
like, the news right now, it's like there's a new tornado or a fire or freezing or flooding. Like, every single day there's something new. And it's like, we're it's too late. Like we're just got to see
It
what
really
happens
is.
now.
I hope that it isn't really too late, but like nobody seems to want to fix anything, and it's just like, oh, so we're all just like greedy, right?
Yeah,
I
but
blame the millionaires.
well, the good thing is like the younger generation, like millennials and Gen Z, I'm really proud of them because they genuinely give a fuck about
Yeah, they do.
each
Yeah,
other and about the planet. So it's just coming down to like waiting for the old people to die so that the younger people
exactly.
with, more enlightened attitudes can take their place in the respective offices. But that's a whole thing. I don't want to get a headache. I don't want to get sad.
But like, I feel like things are slowly getting better. I I'd like to believe that, you know.
Yeah. I try to take little steps like my coffee maker. I got rid of it because of the paper filters. I was feeling really guilty about that. And now I have this like glass orb with this
Oh,
metal
I remember you
filter.
showing me that, and you gotta like slowly pour it
Yeah,
down, right?
it's really easy. So
Yeah,
I have a tea kettle because I'm so cottagecore, and I heat up the kettle until it's screaming for more, and then in the orb thing it's empty, and then you put it's like a little cup with a reusable metal filter, and then you put the coffee beans in there, and you just pour the hot water, and then the orb has coffee in it, and you just pour it, and no waste. Except for the
yeah,
coffee grounds, which could be used for gardening if I had
yeah.
one.
But I mean, look, as little waste as you can manage, that's always good too. Like, even though like the coffee maker that we use, it's like a 1 cup one,
Mm-hmm.
and we have this like reusable, it doesn't require any filters or anything like that, and I'm thankful for that. But it's the small stuff, like I try to walk everywhere in my little town,
Yeah.
um,
When they
and try
ask you
not
for
to
a
have the heat
straw.
on and whatnot. Yeah, I'm like, no,
Yeah. No, thank
I got
you.
my own straw.
Do you want a
I got
bag?
my
No,
own.
I'm good.
No, I'll carry everything. I'll carry everything in my bare hands, And it is the small stuff, if you do have a bag, there's things you can do with them. Recycling is really important. I feel like people need to recycle more. I recently went to my aunt's house. I was like, oh, where's your recycling can? She doesn't have one, and I'm just like,
Well, I have to tell you something that I learned recently because this is like a bombshell allegation against the world that I didn't know, and probably you and most people won't know. Uh, when you see the recycling logo on a plastic
mm-hmm.
bottle, it's bullshit. There's
Wait,
no
really?
such thing as plastic recycling in America. And the reason they're able to put that on there, it's actually a common use logo that's just anybody can use it on whatever they want. And it's just to suggest that you should put it in the appropriate bins and recycle and all that. But if you don't believe me, go to a recycling center and ask them how they recycle plastic, and they will tell you we don't. Now, there are some ways you can recycle it by like chopping it into pieces and melting it. Some people turn it into like jewelry or like some eco-friendly stuff, but you cannot take like recycled plastic and make like a new shiny like plastic bottle. It doesn't work that way. So like recycling is kind of a lie. The only things that can be truly recycled are things like glass or metal, things that can be like properly melted down. Like metal, you
Right.
can melt it down into whatever and just turn it into a metal block, turn it into this or that, but you can't do that with plastic. And like,
That's crazy. Because
oh,
I thought they did that too. I thought they just like turned it into like a new like plastic bottle.
yeah, sorry, I didn't mean to turn this into like a climate change thing. It's just like something I feel very strongly about and I never talk about, but like, save the
No,
turtles.
that's a good point though. Like, so they just throw it out?
I don't know where it goes. I know that there are recycling centers that deal with plastic, and the weird thing is when I lived in Japan, they actually do have proper plastic recycling. They're called PET bottles. It's PET, and it has a recycling logo with a number in it based on what type of plastic. Some are recyclable, some are not. And every day of the week was a different type of trash. So like on Mondays was burnables, like paper.
Yeah.
Tuesdays was plastic, and if you missed it, you had to wait till the next week to take your trash out. So like that was a weird adjustment thing over there. But the PET bottles are actually recycled. So there is apparently a way to recycle that Japan's doing, but we don't do it in America. I don't know. It made me really angry. I found out about it like a month ago, and I was like, what? But yeah,
That's
go to your
crazy,
shampoo
though.
bottle and look at the recycling information, and you'll see it doesn't actually really tell you anything. It's just like recycle. It's like how, where, like what
That's
type
crazy,
of plastic,
though.
like what type of facility does it have to go to?
That is actually interesting. When
Oh,
you were a kid, did you do the thing where you had to like collect bottles and then go to those big machines and then like you put the bottles in, like the bottles and cans,
um,
and they give you money? Do you
I
ever do that?
think when I was like really young, I did that with my grandma, but I don't really remember. But I know it's a thing. I see so many people doing it in LA, like, and like you'd think that it's like something like homeless people would do. No, everybody does it. I'm just like, oh,
And honestly, that's good though. I used to do it when I don't see anybody doing it down here, but when I lived in New York, we used to do it all the time. And you know where we would go? GameStop, buy
hell yeah.
games, you know. But I wish that was a thing down here though, because like it's not. Of course, litter's everywhere.
Yeah,
People litter everywhere.
makes me crazy.
It's a sad fucking reality. But like,
No,
you
and
know,
funny that you mentioned that because the other day I went to the dumpster to throw away my trash, and one of my neighbors was going through the dumpster, like, and like, I don't know, it's weird when it's
collecting
someone,
bottles.
yeah, but like she literally was like, oh, do you have any cans in there? And I'm like, I don't know if I want my neighbor going through my trash. I don't remember what I have in here, but sure, like, I don't know.
That is really weird though.
Like if you don't know me, it's one thing, but if you're my neighbor, it's the neighbor that's always yelling outside, by the way, during my live stream.
Oh
So
my god.
yeah, that was interesting. But
She's like,
also,
hey, give me your trash.
I think the last thing I had eaten was a can of sardines, which was like right on top, so all the
Oh.
juices. And I kind of wanted to tell her, I was like, I wouldn't go through my trash if I were you unless you want fish juice all over your hands, but you do
Uh,
you.
it's just like that's so weird. At least go to somebody else's apartment complex and go through the trash.
I know,
Like
have
at
some
least you don't know.
class. Ugh, I'm just
Right.
kidding.
Like if you're gonna go dumpster diving,
No, I know.
just go to
People,
the next building.
some people got to do whatever they got to do. I get it. It was just an
Honestly
interesting
though, it's just
encounter.
so I'm guessing I don't recycle at your building.
Yeah. So we've got two different dumpsters. One's for regular trash and one's for recycling. So like we have two different trash cans, and that's
Oh,
pretty
okay,
standard in
good.
California. I think everybody has to do that.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure. I'm pretty sure. Yeah, all the apartments that I've seen. But again, that's so weird that she's asking. Like, still, like,
Yeah.
girl, like, I fucking give me. Don't take my trash.
I'm like, I don't know what you're gonna
Um,
find in my trash or at what and anyone else's trash, but good luck.
that's just so strange though. But yay, recycle. Bottom line, everybody should really be recycling, especially at this point. If
Yeah.
you're using cans, if you're using, you got boxes, you should recycle.
So anyway, so when did you say you start school again?
Oh, I start school next Wednesday. Yay!
All right.
I'm nervous. I think I'm gonna have to wake up at like 8 a.m., which is a bit weird for me because I'm up pretty late. So
Oh, and
I
that's
should have
another
been trying
thing.
to.
No one's gonna wake you up for class. Your roommate's not gonna wake you
Exactly.
up. Your mom's not gonna wake you up. It's like you don't go to class, you don't go to class. You don't get the credit. That's
Exactly.
it. So like, make sure that you adjust to that because that was hard for me too, especially with
Yeah.
morning classes. I was not used to that.
Yeah, I'm definitely gonna go to my classes though, because like I think they said one, like if you miss like two classes, that's like a fail, basically, or something like that. And I'm just like, school's
Yep.
expensive, so I'm not going to. I'm gonna try not to
And get to know your
fail.
financial aid person because they can make magic happen. A lot of people don't know this, and this is very useful if you're going to college. So, like for me, what ended up happening is I had good grades that qualified me for what's called a Pell Grant, and
Oh yeah,
you get like an extra $1,000 to $2,000 a semester, which
Mm-hmm.
helps tremendously.
yeah.
By the way, I should probably mention, because me and Lopez are going to do a whole talk, because we actually went to the same art school. When I graduated with no job offers and outdated skills, I had about $70,000 in student debt. So any money that you can save, I don't care if you're going to go to community college, whatever you have to do it, because you don't want that hanging over your head. I'm still kind of a fugitive when it comes to that, because as soon as I graduated, I moved to Japan, and then they couldn't find me, and now I kind of got lost in the paperwork, and I'm just like, I hope they never find me because I'm not paying for it. Like, fuck you, American school system.
Don't say that too loud. You don't know who's listening.
Yeah, sorry. My FBI agent's cool.
But that's crazy how they kind of like hold that over your head, you know? And I'm thinking about like Finland and places where school is free, and I'm just like, to be over there, you know, because like looking at it, I think they said that just like looking at all the money that I'm going to have to eventually pay for like this first semester, it's going to be like over $17,000, and I'm just like, wow.
Yeah. They won't come after you until you graduate, though. As long as you're in school, you're like immune. But the moment you graduate, it like everyone just starts calling you up and trying to do whatever. Never give anyone your social security number. You're going to be targeted with scams. Like it gets really scary by the time you graduate.
I heard about like some credit card companies will just be on campus and be like, oh, you should sign up for this credit card. You know, that's horrible. I feel like that's like preying on the weak.
Well, you know? I get really mad when I think about the state of what they do to people, because, okay, you're in school, like, and all of your public schooling, they never teach you about taxes, about interest, loans, mortgages. They don't teach you any of that. They just throw you into the world. You go into college, you get all this stuff thrown at you. You don't know what you're signing up for until it's too late. So we're putting our kids, like, in their early 20s into horrible debt that they might never be able to get out of. And then no job offers, and like everyone that I went to school with, I think 2 people ended up working in their animation field or game field, and everyone else is like, I work for MasterCard, I customer service, or I work at, like, I was working at Starbucks, you know, before Increment. I mean, it boggles my mind, and it's not the way that it should be. And I think that the rates that they charge for school are out of control, but then you can't get a job without a degree, so you're screwed either way. So again, if you can find a way to save money, get grants, get scholarships, whatever, do it. Please, for the love of God, do it, because then you won't have as much debt later. I mean, it can literally save you tens of thousands of dollars, and that includes you.
Yeah. I'm pretty sure I did FAFSA. I did do FAFSA, and I think they gave me like $6,000 or $7,000.
Good.
I'm just like, thank God.
But no, like,
still,
that's what I'm telling you.
That's not even enough. Like,
that's what I'm telling you, to know
your
financial aid person, because they will know what scholarships you qualify for, and they will say, hey, there's a scholarship, only 6 people have applied, you should do it. I mean, they can literally make magic happen. Like, bring them snacks, kiss their ass, whatever you got to do, because they will remember it and they will help you.
Right. Yeah, like, that's a really good point, too. Because I know for these first few, like, Monday, Tuesday, I know I'm going to have to try to, like, find my way around campus and try to find, like, where everything is. Because I definitely need to know where my, like we said, my financial aid person is going to be. Because, like, I'm, like, broke with a capital B. And I'm just, like, thinking, I'm like, is this going to bite me in 4 years when I graduate? It probably will, but like you said, you can't really do anything without a scholarship these days. I mean, a degree these days, you know? And it's crazy, but like, you got to do what you got to do, you know?
Well, the good thing is, like,
my mom's house.
In the creative field, it's kind of a gray area. I know a lot of people, like, if they're talented enough, they just, you know, when you get a job offer, they just look the other way when it comes to degrees. Like, it's like, okay, you don't have a degree, but you're really good, so who cares? Right. But I don't know. There's a lot of things that a degree can give you that, you know, you won't get otherwise. So it's I don't know. It's hard. I still don't think the price is worth it. But
it really isn't. But like for my school in particular, which is really good, like tuition per semester is only $500. Like that's great. That's going to save me a lot of money.
Yeah.
But still, it's still going to be like, oh, dorm rooms, you know, books, all that other stuff that ends up adding up. I think they put like travel in there for some reason, and all this other shit like
Well,
that. Of
like
course, is gonna add
they'll
up.
also do a lot of shady shit. Like for example, when
Yeah,
I transferred schools, because I started in game programming, and then I was like, oh, I'm bad at math, so then I went to game art. But in order to transfer schools, I needed my transcripts, which had all my college credits and everything. And they're like, we're not releasing these until you pay your full balance. So I suddenly had to come up with like I think it was like $5,000 to finish
that's
paying off. It was at DeVry. So like I literally couldn't start at the next school until I paid for that one, and I had to like borrow money. It was this horrible thing, but like they'll do that to you, so keep that in mind.
that's evil. That should be illegal.
I know, but that's college.
But
It's a
yeah,
business.
what did you do like on the weekends for college?
Worked
Oh, you
um
did?
like on my projects. I
Oh
mean,
yeah,
because that's the thing about creative school is, they're like, here's your homework, but your homework is making a 3D scene or an animation or like, drawing some sort of thing, and that takes time. So
yeah.
like, sometimes I lived like 5 minutes from campus, like walking. So sometimes I'd go to school and just work with like friends nearby, or I would just work at home and hang out, listen to music, whatever. But I really enjoyed it. I love doing 3D models. I love game art. So like I had a lot of fun. Like that's when I knew I had made the right choice, at least as far as what I wanted to do and what major I had chosen. I was like, this is fun. I'm enjoying it. Even with the debt and all that, it was a blast. So like that's the other thing, is because it's so expensive, make sure you think about what you want to do. If you need to take a year off in between high school, like you said, you're 21, that's fine. You're probably better off, because it's better to do that, to take a year off and I'd be like, I don't know what I want to do, because that's what I did. And
Yeah.
then, decide on something versus going to school for something that you don't really want to do and then you regret it later in
Right.
life. Like if you don't want to be a
Exactly.
doctor and you go to medical school, you're never going to get that time or money back. You have to be a doctor now. And if
Exactly.
you hate it, well, too bad.
And that's a lot of money to be sinking into also, if you wanted to be like a doctor and then decide, oh, maybe not. Like
Yeah.
imagine all that money,
Ugh,
you know.
I could not.
But it's like sometimes it's hard to really know what you want to do. So it's kind of, it's a double-edged sword. You might not know. Some people still don't know what they want to do. So it's kind of like fuck.
All right.
That's
Well, I
why
guess in a couple months we're gonna have to do another podcast to check in and see how
yeah.
you're adapting, and how you are now versus how you are then. You're just
Yeah, I'm
like,
probably
oh, your
going to be a lot
mascara.
tired.
You're like,
Yeah.
ah.
You're like, I'm in so much pain.
You're like, I want to die. College.
But,
Woo. No, I'm just kidding.
yeah, but my goodness. College, like, again, like I said, college isn't for everybody,
That
And
too. Yeah.
I feel like a lot of people just like pressure college on kids, and I feel like that's not okay. But then again, we live in a society, haha. We live in a society where you can't really, like, what are you gonna do? Because retail
Well,
jobs
like,
really
okay,
suck.
if you're someone who's like, I don't want to go to college, I have no interest in going to school, and you really don't want to, and let's say you're in a situation where you just have to get a degree in something, just go to community
Right,
college. It's going to be the
right, yeah,
cheapest
that is true.
option. Like you're like a community college class is like $200 versus a university class will be like $2,000. And
Exactly.
even if you just get your basics or do whatever, like get your associates if you have to, just get something, and then like if you're going to let's say for sewing, you want to do costume design, which is what my sister has a degree in.
Oh,
Like,
cool.
you can get all your electives and all that stuff. You could probably do your whole course at a community college for like simple stuff like that, or again like metalsmithing, cooking, like simple careers that you're gonna be okay in. It's a really nice fallback to have, because now,
Yeah,
I mean, like even with a bachelor's degree, it's hard to get a job. I couldn't imagine not having a degree at all. Like it's crazy.
exactly.
But yeah, I don't know. It's different for everyone. We're just giving our own perspectives. So like if anyone hears this and they're like, I'm gonna do that, no. Like think about it. Look at your own life.
Right. Yeah, you can't just make like dumb decisions like that. And
Unless you're really wealthy.
Oh yeah,
Then
but
go for it.
like sometimes you just gotta like take your time and try to like figure out. Like you said, sometimes you should take a jump, like a leap year or a
In the
you don't have
UK,
to
they
go to
call it a
school right
gap
away.
year.
Yeah, a gap year. Like sometimes you don't have to just go to school right away because again, you're like, oh, what do I want to do? Sometimes you don't learn your passion in high school all the time, like you said before. So it's just like okay, don't
Yep.
base things off of what we said because I'm like I only have like my pinky in the door right now. Kai's the only one here that actually has a degree, but you just gotta find out, like you said, what you want to do, and this
Oh,
school's actually worth it.
yeah,
It's just
and
crazy.
I really like that you reinforce that because yeah, if you're not ready for college, then just wait.
Right.
There's no police or any like written rule you have to go immediately after high school. Some people just aren't
Right.
ready and they need that breathing room. However,
Exactly.
don't turn into a lazy sack of fart like just sitting on a couch playing video games the whole time. Actually, like
Yeah.
you know live your life a little bit, like get to know yourself because you're at that
Yeah.
age where you're really like learning a lot about yourself, and then learn about your interests, and that's your time
Right.
to try some different things, see what you like, see what you don't, and then you by that point you should be like, okay, I think I know what I would really love to do. And you know what, if people tell you, like people told me going to school for game design, they're like, that's a waste of a degree, like you're gonna be so unhappy, you're never gonna get a job, blah blah blah. And you know what, I'm making my own games now because it's what makes me happy, it's what I wanted to
Yeah.
do, and I wouldn't have it any other way. So you got to do you.
Yeah. Like for me personally, at first I was like, oh, I wanted to be like a nurse. Nurses are cool, but I don't know if I really have that passion, and I'm kind of glad that I'm giving myself that chance. And I'm glad I did wait because when I first started doing like digital art and whatnot, I was only 17. That was 4 years ago. So I kind of, I kind of know what I want to do a little bit more, but I kind of also have a little bit better grasp of, my own personal hobby, something that I enjoy doing and something I do want to spend my life doing. So, you just gotta take time and like find yourself. Sometimes it takes longer than others, but you just gotta, have faith in yourself and just try to, cool it a little. Like, cool it. It's okay.
Indeed. And I think that is a beautiful stopping point for today's podcast. And before we go, is there anything you would like to shout out, promote?
Yeah. All I have to say is, please be a good person. Treat everybody with kindness, and just like try to be nicer to yourself. Sometimes you're your own worst enemy, but that's all I have to say. It
Very
was lovely
nice.
talking to you.
And before you go, where can people find you? Where can they see your artwork? Where can they follow you?
Um, God, my username on Twitter is like really
Well,
hard
I
and
will have it
really
on the video and in the description, but I don't
yeah,
know about
go check
podcast
out my
listeners.
art. Yeah. And like I said, I'm always on the Discord server. So if you have something to say to me, you want to fight in the back of a Denny's, like we can go. Okay.
Yeah,
So yeah.
please check out the Ink Ribbon Discord server if you're not already on it. It's a really great community with a lot of very positive-minded people. Everyone's really chill. It's one big happy family. And if you just don't have a place to be on the internet, you don't know where you belong, then check out the server. It's free and we're all there. So yeah, but
I'm sure you'll find a place there.
yeah, we are going to end this episode here. Thank you so much, Jazz, for being my guest today. I think that this was a lot of helpful information for anyone approaching that time where they need to go into college. So hopefully that helps people. But we're going to end this here. Thank you for listening, watching, wherever you're getting your podcasts. And we will see you in the next one.
All right.
Bye.
Bye.